right, we are getting ready to train, and you guys are going to come along with us. We are first going to do our myofascial release and our mobility circuit as I turn 30 in a couple days and shit doesn't move like it used to. And then we are going to go over the ins and outs of how to program strength as a hybrid athlete as we work out. We are going through our post-activation potentiation phase. This is something you can learn as an athlete, a hybrid athlete, somebody that wants to move more athletically. The shit works and it's super simple. So as we go through, we'll start with our myofascial release and go through the process of how I program as a hybrid athlete, somebody who runs at a high level, trains at a high level, and you marry the two without burning the candle at both ends. That's what we have in store for you guys. It's going to be a good one. Let's go. I really don't think there's a better topic to go over and you guys to learn from on the week that I'm turning 30 than myofascial release. Something that has gained popularity in the last 5 years, and something that really has a lot of promise in the research and something that really works. The biggest thing is you have to get to the point where you don't give a shit what other people are doing. You don't give a shit what other people think. All you give a shit about is how your body feels, your performance that you're getting, and the fitness that you're able to succeed at. That's really all it comes down to. This last year has really opened my eyes up to a lot of different things, myofascial release being one of them, the stigma of traditional strength training being another, and the importance of zone 2 work, right? So with myofascial release, as I turned 30, this is something that has to be done about twice a week. I can really maintain with twice a week, but when you're hitting 60-mile weeks, 50-mile weeks, and also strength training on top of that, your shit starts to break down if you don't start taking care of it. Think about going on 50,000, 100,000 miles without an oil change. Shit starts breaking. So we have to make sure that we're doing the right things so that we can maintain the performance that we want to maintain. Because if you don't, Father Time is always undefeated. Always undefeated. So what we're trying to do right here is just driving blood flow into the tissues. So right now we're working on our piriformis, pretty much from your ass cheek into your hip pocket. For me personally, I don't know about any of you guys, but this is where I have a lot of problems. And your symptoms, your pain, can really rear its head in your hip flexors, in your glute or your piriformis, and all up in your hip flexors and your low back. And that's something that I've had to deal with. And when we ran the Bismarck Marathon last year, my training was sufficient. However, I wasn't completely honest with myself. I was just doing the miles that I wanted to do, right? And you can get away with that with a half marathon, but you can't get away with that shit when you're trying to perform with a full. And so you have to be honest with yourself. And being honest with yourself comes back to being honest with yourself with the miles, with the strength, with the myofascial release, with everything that you're doing. So you can lie to yourself. You can put shit on Instagram and, oh, I ran X, Y, and Z. But if the hay's not in the barn, the hay's not in the barn. And as it pertains to myofascial release, if the hay's not in the barn, you're going to fall apart. And that's just really what it comes down to. So here again, anything that you guys need, all you need is a lacrosse ball. And these lacrosse balls are dirt-ass cheap. You can get them on Amazon. We got like 6 or 7 of them here at the gym. But this is just going to give you something to push against, right? Think about a weightlifting belt. We're pushing against it, driving blood flow to the tissue in question. So what we do, we focus on the glute, focus on the hamstring, and most importantly, the calves, as that's where a lot of my issues persist. So we'll look at glute max, glute med, and then we'll really get into that, the hip flexor and everything there. But that's super important, just driving blood flow where it needs to drive. And so next, we're gonna go into our hip flexor here on the wall. Something that I've learned very quickly as a washed up athlete, somebody that's trying to be on the amateur side of hybrid athletics and running long distances and everything. Squatting a shitload of weight on a back squat is really cool, right? And I could still do it. I could probably still get 500. But is it really what you need? Is it really what you want for your actual aspirations and your goals? Usually the answer is no, right? And so Somebody that I take a lot of knowledge and experience from because they've done everything is Mark Bell, owner of Slingshot. If you were a 90s kid, you probably watched Bigger, Faster, Stronger back in the day with his brother Smelly. He's done it all, dude. He's one of the best powerlifters to ever walk the planet. And now he's on this regenerative side, really trying to not give a shit what anybody else says and just doing what's best for him. That's what we're trying to do, man. Just do what's best for us and our performance and our family. That's all that really matters. So here, all we're trying to do is aggravate and drive blood flow to the hip flexor, okay? We'll even get into a little bit of the piriformis here as well. But these lacrosse balls are legendary, people. And again, get to the point where you can ask yourself, am I doing this because this is what everybody else is doing? Or am I doing this because this is what I need? As soon as you can answer that question honestly, your shit's gonna change. And it's gonna change very, very quickly and rapidly, but you have to be able to wanna do the work. A lot of times this isn't the sexy shit. This isn't the shit that sells. This isn't the shit that people wanna see. This isn't the shit that anybody wants to hear about. This is the stuff that allows you to do things at a high level for a very long time, okay? Because if I can run a marathon, somebody that doesn't do that shit and hated running and talk shit on it, if I can do it, anybody can fucking do it. Anybody, I mean anybody, okay? So now you guys can't really see it, but all we're doing is rolling out our arches with this lacrosse ball from big toe to heel, driving blood flow there. The big thing with this is not only just blood flow, but elasticity of the tendons and ligaments and the arch, right? This allows you to be more springy, okay? In marathon running, springy isn't the first word that comes to mind. In sprinting, it is. In health of the foot, it is. So this is something that we try to do every other day, rolling out that arch, and you'll feel like you got fucking knots down in the bottom of that. That's exactly what you should feel. When you don't have the capacity to produce and reduce force about your feet and your arch, that's where bad things happen, right? For instance, I was a high school strength and conditioning coach for this company called HIT. I'm not gonna talk shit. I talk shit all the time about it. I'm not gonna talk shit, but very undereducated organization, right? Well, we were assessing kids and we saw a lot of knee valgus, right? We see a lot of knee valgus, you see this hip twist, you see all these things. Well, at the time, all we would do is put a Band-Aid over the check engine light. Hey, their knees are diving in like this. This is valgus. They must have a weakness in their knee or their hip. But being undereducated and very unexperienced, we prescribed glute work, making sure their knees, putting bands on their knees. Guys, that's not the case. You know what the case is? What causes the knee to do what it does? The foot. What is the only body part that's in contact with the ground? The foot. And that is what's causing it. So if we have an arch that can't contract and get nice and arched up, of course the knee's gonna dive in. Of course there's not an issue in the hip. Of course there's not an issue in the knee. Maybe the pain presides there, but it's all in that arch. So a couple things that we do that you guys can do right now is myofascial release on the foot, and then also barefoot shoes. I've been trying to get a sponsorship from Vivo for a long time. I've had 5 different pairs of shoes. These ones are almost done. But if you look at this wear pattern, guys, this is what you want. You want to wear less here. You want to wear it in the big toe and this arch here. And if you look, or excuse me, this outside edge, if you look here, this should be less worn down, which it is. That's your arch. That is not going to be in contact with the ground unless you have problems with the arch. This is a key, a secret, a hack to your health, whether that's knee, hip, back pain, just getting some wide, minimalist shoes. This is like a sock. This can fix a lot of your issues, along with myofascial release. For us, that's the extent of the myofascial release that we need to do. Those are our problem childs, right? So now we're gonna really get into a little bit of our mobility. This is going to be something that's really, really helpful. So first thing we'll start with that can be very helpful for you guys, and you guys can progress it from where I'm at today into doing a regular knees over toe squat or a knees over toe lunge, okay? So all we're going to do is try to drive adaptation, drive stimulus, drive blood flow through this knee as we drive it over to our toe. And we're going to try to keep that heel as close to the ground as possible, just pulsing, getting it nice and loose. A lot of people will feel a little bit of a stretch in that calf. For me, I feel it in the calf and then just tension in the knee. So we're trying to just get this more comfortable here. This is something that will help a ton. Make sure your arch is tight, driving that knee forward. Just gaining range of motion about that knee is going to be pivotal for everything that you're trying to do, okay? So we'll just keep on driving here, making sure we're getting that groin nice and loose, adductors, all of our quad muscles in that calf, okay? We'll switch it up, same thing. Crazy part, guys, for anybody that follows my Instagram, follows me as a coach, follows me as a person, fittest dad on earth journey, I had to start TRT a little while ago. My testosterone was 100. I was sleeping like shit. I was having to sleep all the time, taking naps. And one big thing, not only does the energy feel better, not only do I sleep better, X, Y, and Z, the big thing is when I'm running my miles, when I'm squatting heavy, when I'm deadlifting, doing all that stuff, my joints feel 50 times better. And if you look at it, hindsight's 20/20, right? I think I had low T for about 2.5 years. So before I had my 1-year-old, right? And anytime I would do anything over a 5-mile run, the next day, I couldn't do shit. My knee would just blow up like a balloon. And there's nothing structurally wrong with the knee, but that thing would blow up. It was crazy. Now, I'm at 50-mile weeks, 55 and 57 coming down the pipe, and I can squat heavy the next day. I've been burning the candle at both ends, having zero testosterone to regrow any of the work that I'm doing, and just suffering through. It is crazy to me, So now we're gonna go into a little bit of transverse plane or a frontal plane, and we're gonna go and drive the knee as far over as you can here. You're gonna get adductor here, you're gonna get groin here, plus that knee over toe position on the outside. Great, amazing stretch that honestly, you should do these every day. These are our hip openers. I do this pre-running and pre any lower body movements, okay? Something that I highly, highly recommend. Driving that knee as far over the toe as possible. Again, this isn't the shit that sells, guys. This is the shit that takes time. I could be eating breakfast right now. I could be doing X, Y, and Z. But honestly, this is the shit that saves you. This is the stuff that everybody needs, man, and everybody doesn't do, and then they come to me and they whine and bitch because they're in so much pain. Well, this is the stuff that could have been done, and now it's just time to educate and adapt. I mean, shit, isn't that life right there? Educate and adapt. Fail, educate and adapt. Fail, educate and adapt. It's not just about lifting weights, it's not about running miles, it's about educating and failing and revamping it, dude. That's all it comes down to, whether you're trying to build a business, build a frickin' physical temple, whatever you want to do, dude. All right, next thing that we usually run into is a lack of external rotation about the hip, something that I've struggled with for a long time. And so we'll usually do an elevated pigeon stretch, but for the sake of time here, we'll just do a regular pigeon. So bring this across. You want 3 contact points: ankle, knee, hip, and drive this down. Try to reach your hip to the ground and just sit up nice and tall if you need to. Breathe and exhale as you come down. This is something that if you have tight external rotation and there's a discrepancy in your hips, you're gonna really feel that. That's where we start getting hip twists or hip drops or crossover symmetry about our running. Man, this journey of trying to become the fittest dad on earth and running and learning all this stuff, because I hated running. But you know the thing that's taught me the most is the shit that I suck at, running, right? I've learned how to break down gait for myself, my clients, my athletes, getting to a point where we can really fit all the puzzle pieces together based off of how we are running. running and sprinting are the most primal things that we can do. And in those primal activities, you're gonna see the breakdown and the deficiencies of everybody. And from there, we can start piecing that puzzle together and creating the best athlete, creating the best human, creating the best performance. But without it, and shitting on zone 2 cardio, or shitting on marathon running, or shitting on running, or shitting on strength training, you're not gonna find anything, and you're just gonna go in that rut. You're gonna get off work, and you're not gonna have any goals, and you're just gonna sit on your ass and eat pizza and watch Netflix. Sounds like a hell of a life, doesn't it? Or you could work on what you're shitty at, and it's gonna be uncomfortable for a little bit. It's not as fun as watching Netflix. Fast forward 6 months, you're gonna be in a whole different place than you've ever been in your life, which is badass, absolutely badass. And you can look at your buddies that are still 80 pounds overweight, just jumping on Ozempic because they don't wanna do the work, and you're gonna be jacked and they're gonna have no muscle mass. So let them eat their pizza. You keep working on your deficiencies. Don't make excuses and just get after it. And when you don't know the answer, ask. That's what it comes down to. All right. Our next one, and a staple in what we do, is our 90-90. We'll first start with an abbreviated 90-90 because this is where I start getting some cracking, some popping, some discomfort in my hip flexors, and then we'll go to the full 90-90. So biggest thing is you want to sit up vertical. A lot of people load this and they hold weight and all this shit. How I look at it is if we can stay vertical, I'm challenging more external rotation, internal rotation about the hips. Well, if that's the case, I'm gonna get more blood flow, I'm gonna get more range of motion instead of hunching over, holding a weight because our ego's attached. So all we're gonna do, keep this right knee in the ground for as long as possible, abbreviated 90-90, okay? Right now, we're challenging internal rotation, and then we go into external, external. All the while, this is challenging external rotation about this hip. So we'll do it about 8, and then we'll switch sides. Hit about 8, sitting up awkwardly tall, reach, reach, reach. And then we'll go to the full 90-90, okay? Sitting up nice and tall. Breathe through it. Big thing that I've really realized, and something you guys can take with you, is motion is lotion. You'll hear some people talk about that. Motion is lotion. So you think about motion, you think about friction, you think about joints moving about one another in the harmony that they are from top to bottom. What does motion bring? It brings heat. In the body, what is heat? Blood. What is blood? Rejuvenation. What is new blood? Healing. So that's the biggest thing you got to think about. Motion is lotion. We're trying to bring heat, we're trying to bring friction, we're trying to bring blood flow to the joints in question so that we can really, really work on regeneration of those joints and preservation of those joints. Next one, we're going to look at our calves. I was gifted in the calf category. My father, my uncles, they all have just freaking loaves of bread for calves. And there was no skipping genetics on the calves, boys. I've never trained calves. I take that back. Back in college, I might throw around a little bit. I haven't trained calves in 7 years. 7 years, you wanna see these bad boys? I ain't got a pump on them yet. I mean, good golly. They're bigger than people's quads, bruh. And actually, I really don't like having big calves, but it is what it is. Everybody likes them, they're sought after. So we're gonna pedal. So we're gonna tripod, get our ass up in the air as far as we can, looking like an Instagram model, and then we're just gonna pedal. Now, with this pedaling, guys, this flexibility, mobility training, one of two things are gonna happen. You're either gonna feel it more in your calves like me, because they're bound up like knots, or you're gonna feel it in your hamstrings. And with those one of two things, it's gonna show you where you're tight, okay? That's a big deal. It's gonna show us where we need to work, where we need to find range of motion, where we need to find flexibility and mobility in the tissue. So try this out, see exactly where you feel it, and you'll know exactly what's binding you up. We're gonna do a tiny bit of activation, okay? I have a weak glute. I mean, I know I got a dump truck of an ass, but I have a weak glute, and so we do a little bit of activation for that. Number one weakness. Number two is my hip flexors. We'll do 1 to 2 sets here today, but we'll usually do this activation prior to running or prior to lower body work. So this is just my seated hips or lying hips, whatever you want to call it, a clamshell, but we're going to drive up. We're working on bottom side hip, okay, bottom side glute minimus or medius, okay, sorry, glute medius, and then we're working on a little bit of groin, a little bit of IT, a little bit of stuff on this leg on the top, but we're also working on that piriformis a little bit as we go into external rotation. This is a real burner, something that I struggle with. I can squat 500 pounds, deadlift 700, but anything body weight like this is really tough. This is just a little bit of activation for those weak points. And for you guys, man, like this may not be the right place to start, but you have to ask the right questions first, right? So if we can find our weaknesses, then you can ask a coach like me or 50 other ones that are decent, right? You just have to find your weaknesses, do the things you're shitty at, and then work on them, right? I just had a podcast with Gus, and he's talked about something that I really liked. Do the shitty things first. Do the hard things first in your day. If you can do the hard things first, everything else is easy, right? Something that resonates a lot because a lot of people just try to ease into their day. Like, I'm going to get my coffee, I'm going to look at my phone, I'm going to do this. Do your hard shit first. Doing your hard shit is amazing, and it helps you out. But the biggest thing is if you're watching this video right now, the 10 people that do, grab your piece of paper or your phone or your notes app and write down 3 things that you absolutely suck at in a physical capacity. Write down those 3 things. If you can find those 3 things, now you know what you need to work on. Because we get in this rut, dude, and you don't want to work on the things that suck and the things that you don't want to do, but those are the things that are going to teach you the most. For me, biggest thing that I sucked at was running, and I still suck at it. But that's the thing that I have learned the most in this last year. Is it uncomfortable? Sure. Does it take time? Sure. But the thing that I've learned the most from in my life, in my training, as being a dad, as being a husband, is running. Being efficient, not wasting time, being able to run well so you don't get injuries. It's endless. Write down those 3 things you suck at. Be like, man, I suck at strength training, or man, I suck at running, or I can't swim, I can't ride a bike. Well, son of a bitch, dude, do those things, because we get in this rut. We go to work. Maybe if you're lucky, you go to the gym, and then you go home and watch Netflix and drink a beer. It's not an existence to live. Challenge yourself with your weaknesses, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, last activation thing we're going to do before we start banging some weights is our hip flexor work. When I ran the Bismarck Marathon, this was the thing that gave out, dude. The Bismarck Half Marathon. This is the thing that gave out. I started getting hip flexor pain, lower back, and I just wanted to try to quit on myself. I didn't, but this is something that we really have to work on. So biggest thing is you need to get your hips through. If my glutes are on, that means my hip flexors are in the stretch position. This would be the shortened position. This is the stretch position. We want to make sure that you're in the stretch position so that we can get the best contraction out of them. If we are in this pelvic tilt, now my hip flexors are relaxed. I can't get the contraction that I need to get, okay? Hips forward, eyes tall, knees up, eyes up, chest up. Now we're just going to reach, keep tension on the band, back down, okay? You're gonna feel opposite side glute, but the main thing is we're trying to drive blood flow, motion is lotion, into that hip flexor, okay? You could feel some cramping, you could feel some weakness, you could feel some shaking, something that you gotta just work through and make sure you get your reps at. This right here is the one thing that will maybe get me through my marathon. Prior to, I couldn't do this. I couldn't do a set of 8 without a cramping sensation. Now, swap sides, glutes through, squeeze, squeeze. With our hip flexors, they're attached at the low back, and that can cause a lot of cascading issues if we don't take care of it. But notice, I keep trying to push the hips back because they're weak. I gotta keep them nice and tall. All right, now all that stuff's done. It took me 10 minutes that I won't get back, but 10 minutes that I can keep doing the things I want to do. Now it's time to bang some weights. Let's get it. All right, so what is post-activation potentiation? It is a very, very simple way to put lifting something very, very heavy followed by something dynamic. We just went through our French contrast, which is an 85% lift followed by 3 plyometrics in descending order from resisted, body weight, assisted, okay? So post-activation potentiation is similarly playing on that stretch reflex cycle, but we're going to get more athletic, be more powerful, build speed, build strength while doing something athletic. So today, what we have is our strict press, okay? We're gonna hit 4 sets of 5 and an RPE of 8, and then we're straight to a bent over med ball chest pass. Speed, aggression, violence, velocity is all we're thinking here. And then we're gonna rest. This allows us to focus on intensity, or for you guys out there, it's weight, intensity here, followed by volume and velocity here. Intensity, volume, velocity. That's what we're gonna focus on. That's what we're hitting today. Let's go bang some weights. Yeah.
Kirk Cousins was like, they took him in like the late rounds, like just in case fucking RG3 didn't pan out, which he didn't.
What do you mean RG3 didn't pan out?
I mean, he's currently just
Announcer.
Yeah,
When it comes to warming up, what I've found is 2 to 3 sets is kind of your base window. So we're hitting strict press. We got 3 by 5 and RP of 8. And so I hit a set empty, and then I'm gonna hit a set at 135, and then I'm gonna hit a set probably 165, and then it's time to go. Like, if you get to the point where you're hitting 4, 5, 6 warm-up sets, I believe, biologically, you're starting to deteriorate your top-end working sets. Again, that's my opinion. I don't have research to back it, but if you're hitting that much volume as warm-up, you're gonna deteriorate from somewhere, and usually it comes from your working sets. So we'll hit another set of warm-up here, 3 to 5, 3 to 6 reps. We are hitting a strict press today. No legs, all upper body power, making sure we can get her done. The beautiful thing about RPE, I know it's super popular in the powerlifting world. Beautiful thing about RPE is what I'm going through today. High mileage this week, 58 miles, 57. And what is usually light for me feels like shit. Like this does not feel great today. So it's still an RPE 8 for me today. May not be as heavy as my other RPE 8s, but it's an RPE 8 for me today. So that allows me to capitalize on great days and also get improvement and capitalization on my bad days. Because RPE 8 is RPE 8, and it's the daily RPE 8. Well, this is gonna be, I think, our RPE 8 for the day, but we won't know until we try it, right? Here we go. 5 reps, RPE 8. That's an RPE 8, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're gonna hit 3 movement patterns here, just because everything's feeling good. So with our post-activation potentiation, heavy, heavy, heavy primal, which is our press, followed up by dynamic bent over med ball bent over chest pass, and then we're going to hit our row, okay? Making sure that we're pulling fast, but also getting the activation we want for the lats, okay? So we're gonna hit 15 of these. Oh, there goes my ring. Violence and speed. That's all you need. Violence and speed. All right, it's time to take off the pump cover a little bit here. Since being on TRT, man, I've had some great benefits, but I've also had drawbacks. Getting ready to run a marathon, and I put 15 pounds of water weight on. So all my guys out there on TRT, I've heard it comes off in about the 3-week period, 4-week period by the time you start it. I'm hoping it does, because I don't care about the water weight. I just care about feeling better. I care about not having to take a fucking nap every day. The physical attributes, I'm not worried about. I've had the physical attributes. I want to feel better. So we're gonna get after this. All right, last set felt like a true RPE 8. We'll see how she bucks on this one. See how she bucks. Oh yeah, 15 straight to it. We have to hit it very quickly after we hit this set. Very quickly. If I wasn't recording, I wouldn't be fucking talking right now. Hit it fast. Then we'll go straight into our row. I don't have a cameraman with me, so I gotta switch the damn angles. These anchor units are nice, but you need to be able to load it up a little bit more. It's just, you can't get it heavy enough sometimes. Just can't get it heavy enough. Especially trying to do like a lat pull or a seated row. Double arm, like good luck. Going 55 freaking reps. Biggest thing for me too, during strength work, I condition, I run, I do aerobic conditioning, anaerobic conditioning. You can't get strong tired. So remember that. You can't get strong tired. That's why CrossFit people can't get strong. It's all about speed. It's all about doing reps. It's all about volume. True strength is in the absence of fatigue. Remember that. Hear it again. Gaining true strength has to be in the absence of fatigue. So I have to bring this up every time we push press or strict press. I used to be affiliated with that same high school strength company. Can't even call it a strength company. Again, I said I'm not going to talk shit. I'm not going to talk shit. The individual that ran it, so uneducated about actual athletic performance, he bastardizes lifts as bad and good. As somebody who is an experienced coach, which still have a lot to learn, but been around the block a little bit, coming up on my 9th year, there's no such thing as good exercises and bad exercises. There is such thing as good movement and bad movement. That's something you have to focus on. So there's no such thing as good and bad movements or exercises, but there is bad movement and good movement. What do I mean by that? Doing a push press like shit is not good, but that doesn't make the push press not good. That makes your movement with the push press like a dog shitting a razor blade. So it's not about the movement itself. It's about how you do the movement, okay? You can't bastardize this. Is driving cars dangerous? Sure. Does that mean we don't drive cars? No. You have to focus on making the movement, the human movement of the exercise, great. That is why there's no such thing as good exercises and bad exercises. This individual that owned it, super undereducated about athletic performance, and that's what they do. Lat pull downs, bad. Press, bad. Back squats, bad. Only Bulgarians, good. It's not the case, guys. Great movement surpasses any bad exercise. Here we go, set 3 of 4. Ooh, this feels good. I'm just getting warmed up. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Let's go. Ooh, doggy. I'm just gonna rip out the fourth set and not record it because I don't want to waste time, and then we'll get to the other stuff. So we're gonna hit the fourth set. You won't see it. All right, same concept, different stimulus, trying to address the same things. Heavy ass primal movement, followed by our dynamic plyometric based movements, okay? Trying to match the same stimulus you're giving in the primal. So I'm doing a upper body push. I'm gonna be doing an upper body push, heavy here, dynamic there. That's the name of the game, okay? So we're gonna hit our lunge. I think we're hitting 4 to 5 RP8. Our split stance, push press, okay? So now we get to use some legs, get a little bit of dynamic movement, and then go to the med ball chest pass to push up, and then we'll go to our rotational row. All right, we're gonna stagger the back foot back. Short dip, kind of like a push jerk or a push press. Here we go. Straight to it. Quit talking. Horizontal projection. Whew. All right. Rotational lunge. See if this will work. May not. Ooh, I don't know if I trust this. Hoofed. So usually I have more tension on that band. I don't know if I trust that screw in the wall. So next set, we'll actually put the band on the rack where it's stationary, bolted in, and we'll do it there, and you'll see that tension. We're trying to get the whole body to work together as one unit. So I'm trying to get a good row for the lats, and then really work on the obliques and stretch and reach, trying to get this to work in coordination with the row. Another interesting thing to think about, right? There's no such thing as bad movements, but if something doesn't work for you, you have a shoulder impingement, you can't get external rotation, whatever it is, doing an alternative that has the same or similar stimulus is never a bad thing, right? There's no such thing as bad exercises. There may be bad exercises for you or for me, but trying to get your ego attached to a lift because it's a primal, I have to do it, I'm a power lifter, I have to bench, squat, deadlift, it's not gonna get you very far, right? If you're butting your head up against the wall, you're trying to hit a square peg in a round hole, shit's not gonna work. It's not rocket science. Find what works best for you, matching the stimulus to the primal. Boom, rocket science, baby. Ooh, doggy. I'm so much weaker on my left. Quit talking, get off your phone, do your lifts. Ooh, feel explosive there. That's more like it. A little bit better tension. Oh, that was bad. Redo your reps if they're bad. All right, we got 2 more sets. I just want to be done. I want to get her done. We're going to haul ass. Oh, here we go. Got a tip for you guys when you're doing unilateral stuff, whether one arm or one leg. Let me finish this. That's a good tip, especially for injuries or weaknesses. So, whether it's an upper body unilateral or lower body unilateral, whether you've had injury or you're just weak on one side, I learned this from my mentor. Start on that side and continually start on that side. So I'm weak on my left, I'm gonna start on my left, start on my left, start on my left. Psychologically, you're going to trust it more, number 1. Number 2, you're more fresh at the start of your set unilaterally on the first leg or the first arm. You're gonna get more performance out of that side, which then psychologically leads to you trusting it more, even if there's a deficiency there. That's something that I have done over the years that has helped tremendously. I snapped my patellar tendon, everything, left side first, left side first, left side first. Well, son of a bitch, this is my strong side now, okay? Do your weaknesses first. It comes back to what we were just talking about. Do the hard shit first. It's hard on my left, do the hard shit. Do the hard shit first. I don't wanna work out, just do it. It all comes down to that. All right, just like the last superset, we're gonna hit a 4th here. You may not see it all. I'm just ready to go get some breakfast, some sourdough from my wife, my honey, just hotter than shit. And I'm not talking about the bread. Starting with the left, left's weak, do hard shit first. My dog's trying to kill me. I'm done. Let's go get some breakfast. Best meal of the day. Before we leave to get some breakfast, let's talk programming real quick. We've talked about myofascial release. We talked about post-activation potentiation, how to not burn the candle at both ends, X, Y, and Z. Here's my philosophy on programming for hybrid athletics. And hybrid athletics involving running and strength training at a high level, okay? So number 1, we can't do 200%. 100% of strength training and 100% of running is going to leave you injured and burnt out, and it doesn't work. You can do it for a short period of time, and then you burn out. So, you first have to ask yourself, your goal. What am I trying to achieve? What is my weakness? If your weakness is running, we need to prioritize running while still having our strength training. If your weakness is strength training, we need to prioritize strength training while still having running, okay? So that's number one. Number two, my philosophy on hybrid athletics is different from Nick Bare's. It's different from Jeremy Miller's. It's different from Matt Johnson's. It's different from Nathan French's. I am bred for performance. I don't care about the aesthetics, and I think the aesthetics are cool. I don't have any ambition on stepping on a scale for a bodybuilding competition, stepping on the stage, or even doing the training that persists to get me there. I don't care about all that. All I care about is true performance. So if performance is that case, and that's not saying theirs is worse or better. I would say theirs is probably better. That's just how it is. But they've had more experience than me. I'm looking for pure athletic performance, endurance and strength. Marrying the two, hypertrophy is an afterthought. The aesthetics is the afterthought. So how I program very, very basically, and like right now we're in an 8-week post-activation potentiation cycle. So what I'm looking at is very high intensity, low volume with high velocity plyos. That's it. High intensity primals, very, very high velocity plyometrics. That's it. That's all we care about with our circuits of plyometrics. So that's the big thing, is not focusing on just straight hypertrophy, which is a great thing, but when I'm programming in a weekly cycle, if I'm running 3 to 4 times a week, I would like to strength train 3 to 4 times a week. An easy template for you guys. Program strength, power, hypertrophy. It's going to give you a good superset. It's going to give you a good week of work. So early in your week, your Mondays, strength work. Your Wednesdays, power work. Your Fridays, hypertrophy work. Strength, power, hypertrophy, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's a good split for you guys. What I do is programming in cycles. We have 8-week cycles depending on the goal that we're trying to achieve. Right now, it's marathon, baby. So all we're trying to do is cut overall volume in the weight room. We're trying to make sure that intensity is high through the roof, because you don't burn out from intensity, you burn out from volume. Remember that. You don't burn out from intensity, you burn out from volume. So right now, we're looking at very high intensities, low volume, max velocity plyos. So if this is something that you guys have any interest in, reach out and ask. We have our Hybrid Legion program. We have our Locked and Loaded program, which is just straight athletics. Our Hybrid Legion being the best hybrid athlete possible, the best human, the best father, the best husband, and then our Stacking Bodies, just putting on mass. We will see you guys later. Let us know if you guys like these YouTube videos of us talking shit, slinging weights, and just talking about life and how we are going about this journey, because last time it was pretty popular. Let us know how you like it. We will see you guys very soon in our marathon, Billings, Montana, baby.